As you hear, she is the expert. She is a pro at what she does. And certainly it's a blessing to have her expertise here sharing with us on tonight. We're here discussing tax season. What should entrepreneurs do? It's about in this group manifesting, multiplying, managing multiple streams of income. How do you do that successfully? How do you do it well? How do you do it legally? How do you take care of your taxes? These are all the questions that we're trying to answer on now. So hang on. Hello, and everyone. Welcome to our broadcast tonight. We thank you for being here. We have none other than the amazing Sadia Douglas. She is our expert advice giver tonight. And we thank God for her being here to give her expertise, her tips, her advice, and to share just her wealth of wisdom that she has. And we're so thankful for all that we're going to get, the nuggets from her. Welcome, Sadia. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Sadia Douglas. I'm local here to the Richmond metro county area. Families from Charles City, grew up in Henrico County, graduated from the University of Richmond, and then got my master's from VCU. So I covered all my bases, hit our locals. And in addition to having been a state auditor when I first graduated from college, I became a director of finance in Charles City, over the school system side, and a director of finance over the school system side in Goochland, and then a director of finance over the county in Prince George County before going to the state, where I became the CFO over the Science Museum. I was there for 10 years. And then I transitioned over to the Department of Aviation. And then once COVID hit, my mom passed, and it gave me an opportunity to kind of rethink my life. And I decided I did not want to go in every day and kind of walk to their tune. I barely wanted to converse with them. So I took that leap of faith and went full time in my practice, and decided if I'm going to believe God and I'm going to have my faith walk, then I need to truly believe that He is the source of my needs. And so, most people would say, well, why don't you leave the state? Why don't you leave the state? And I was a little bit afraid to be an entrepreneur because I would always say 6 figures. That's what I need to take care of my twins, right? And I found that God has given me the same freedom on my own.
Right. It's off to you for your education and the time that you have invested into this space, and your career, your tenure over the years is truly paying off as you're working for yourself, because like you said, trusting God, He's the one who gives us the ability to get wealth. He's the one who gives us the means, the downloads, the wisdom, the witty ideas to prosper. And if we commit our work to God, He will certainly bless the works of our hand. How should entrepreneurs prepare for tax season? I know it's a little late in the game, very late, down to the wire. But how should entrepreneurs prepare for tax season?
In order for them to prepare for the tax season, even though we're this far into it, you have to start gathering together all of your receipts. If you've used your credit cards, making sure you have receipts, tracking your deposits. I tell everyone you can use Wave. There's a free version of Wave. There's Zero, that is a free version of like an accounting software like QuickBooks. Very easy to use. And so if you can even connect your bank account to that, it will help you to start organizing your finances, organizing labeling what's income, what's expenses. Your cell phone and your Wi-Fi fall under utilities on your profit and loss statement. So if you can start to prepare your transactions and categorize them, that will get you a long way, because one of the hardest parts is you don't want to get started because you're like, oh my gosh, I have to pull something from everywhere. And at least having it in Wave or Zero will help you to pull it together. And QuickBooks is, $39, $45 a month. It depends if you want to go with QuickBooks, but they're easy to set up. I can assist you with that, walk you through what you need to do. But it's just important for you to start pulling all of your information together. And I tell people that the IRS does not consider your bank statements and your credit card statements receipts. They just don't. They're like, nope, we don't know what you purchased with that. We don't know what you paid for. So during the year, I keep all of my receipts.
That's so good. That's good information. You mentioned wave, you mentioned zero, because I'm taking notes, okay? And I just want you guys to also know that Sadia is local in Richmond, Virginia. If you are in the RVA area, she's local and she can service your financial services needs.
Yes.
And what are some things that you do outside of taxes too, just to give an idea?
In addition to taxes, I work with businesses. So I form businesses. I help businesses determine whether they should become an S Corp or if they're the right entity type. And then if they do need to change, I'll make that change, create their legal documents, and train them on how to be business, either a corporation or to be a nonprofit. What are the rules that you have to follow? Because the benefit of being one over the other means there's some more compliance things you have to do, but I like to make it easy for my business owners and kind of detail what you need to do. I send out reminders during the year. And in addition, I coach businesses. So I'll help form their businesses, or they already have them formed. Then I coach them on how to be profitable. Because a lot of it, you may be able to do on your own. You just don't really think and pull it all together. And a coach helps you kind of pull it all together, focus on the 1, 2, 3s that you need to do every, week, 2 weeks, every month, and to help pull you forward to bring your vision out so that you've made it plain and you can grow.
That is so wonderful, sir. She's given entrepreneurs strategies and the steps that they need to take to make themselves profitable, structured correctly, and legally taking care of business for IRS purposes. What are some examples of write-off?
So you would want to look at, let's just take a generic business and you provide a service. So there are a few things you can write off, but your software, your hardware, your cell phone, your apps that you use, all these apps that we use, because we don't purchase software anymore. What we do is we pay for subscriptions every year. And so you can track and pay for all of those. You can also track your mileage. There's an Mileage IQ. That is a great app to help you. It swipe left and right for business or personal, and it will track your miles for you. If you're in a job, let's say you are an auto mechanic, well, those uniforms are deductible. No other job, it's only if you have to wear a specific uniform. So I have people who are artists. You can't write off your clothes. Even when they go to the gala, to Emmys, all these things, those artists do not get to write off those beautiful clothes they wear. The IRS says clothes are not a write-off. But when you have a uniform, when you're a mechanic and things of that nature, yes, you can write those off. Also, you can write off your contractors that you have working for you. And that's important because you want to decide whether they are a contractor or an employee. Lots of people classify contractors who are really supposed to be employees. So look at whether you need to be paying them or they're truly a contractor working on their own guidance without you guiding them, using their own tools, whether it be a computer or not, and they must be self-directed. So you hire them for one job and they do that job without you. In addition to that, there are other deductions depending on your classification, whether you are an LLC. Of course, you can write off your home office, and a lot of people kind of are a little confused on how they write off their home office. But if you're an S Corp, there is something called an allocation. You don't get to write off things directly anymore. You get to get reimbursed as an owner. So as an S Corp, you could potentially bring anywhere from $5,000 $500 to $1,500 home tax-free every month using this reimbursement plan according to the IRS guidelines. That's the key, the IRS guidelines. In addition to that, you would want to start looking at what resources do you use to do your job. So whatever that field is, I can help you identify other types of things you can write off, whether it be books. I know with Kizzy, with her business, sometimes she's using books and learning, and she may do some purchase some things online, whether it be resources for her or for the people that she serves. So those resources are tax deductible.
That's good information. Very good. Thank you for that. So those are helpful tips for us to know, to look at our structure, I guess, and knowing whether or not a person should be an employee or a contractor. And I guess it determines whether or not they're a 1099, how we're paying them versus a W-2 form. And so what I'm hearing you say is a contractor is self-governed. They don't need your guidance. They can fully flow and function without you. But your employee said you will need to say, okay, well, I need you to do this at a certain time and that, and follow through. And these are the steps, and you're holding their hand or either managing
even
them,
directing
so
them.
So that's what I'm getting from the conversation. So that's very helpful. So a virtual assistant, would that fall under employee or a 1099?
That is such a great question. This is how I tackle that, because I've had a virtual assistant too. So in order for that person to be considered a contractor and not an employee, they have to have their own business. Okay. So they have to have already formed their business. A lot of times, even if it's, if you're hiring, I had a mechanic client who set all of their mechanics as contractors. They didn't have their own business. That the same thing is true for a mental health facility. All of their therapists did not have their own businesses. That makes them employees, not contractors. And so with my virtual assistant, if you use someone who has their own office or has created their own business, or they're from Fiverr or Upworks. My first virtual assistant was from Fiverr. She was amazing. She was in a different country, but she was absolutely fantastic. And so depending on what it is you're doing, what field you're in, you would want to see if you need a local virtual assistant or someone who can be anywhere in the United States or on the continent, basically. And for the virtual assistant, you want to just make sure, because if they have their own company, then yes, you are saying, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. And then they decide when they're going to do it, maybe what time they're going to do it, because that's also something. With my contractors, I don't care what time you work. You can work anytime you want to. I only care about the finished product. So that's how you kind of think about it. If you have your contractor who has to show up every day at 9, take their lunch and leave at 5, kind of sounds like an employee. But let's say you have a mental health practice and they can see their clients either online or in the office. If they have flexibility with their schedule, things of that nature, and they have their own business where they're providing that service to you, that makes them a contractor.
That is so helpful to know. Oh my goodness. Because I wasn't sure how that all panned out, but that's really insightful. How should an entrepreneur set aside income or money for taxes, like quarterly? Like, should they have an account, or should they pay the IRS, or just set it to the side and pay at the end? What do you recommend?
Oh, you're going for the great questions tonight. So when it comes to your taxes, you want to think that at least 20% at the minimum is set aside. And I tell people, if you're in a business where you get paid off of contracts yourself, take at least 20% of that contract amount, put it to the side in a savings account called taxes. And then with the IRS and the state that you live in, they expect their money quarterly. You have to pay estimated taxes every quarter, because depending on your and you do this depending on your structure. Let's say you're an LLC, you would take 20% every month, every quarter, and put it to the side, and that's the amount that you're going to pay to the IRS. But then you still need to pay about 5% to the state under your own Social Security number if you're an LLC. If you're an S corp, an S corp means that the owner has to take a salary. So it makes it a benefit because you're not having to pay self-employment tax on your income. And there are other strategies where the business is paying those taxes instead of you paying both sides, the employer and employee side. And so if that's the case, you're already paying a majority of it on your payroll. So you look at what your profit is after all of your expenses, and that is what you put 20% towards under your own Social Security number. S corps are flow-through entities. If you have a corporation, which is a C corporation, you want to put 30% away for federal. And that should be paid quarterly under the business's EIN number. So that makes it a little bit different. And then, of course, our nonprofits don't pay taxes.
I'm in class learning today. I just want to take all the notes. I said, let me stop taking notes and pay attention to the interview. I can go back and listen. But this is so good. Oh, my goodness. So this is a lot to take on. And I guess the viewers will know where they stand in their position. And if they have any questions, you are definitely a coach that they can do a consult with. So what is your way to contact you?
You can contact me at 804-349-8600. That's 804-349-8600. Or my email is info@PFSUR-CPA. So Prosperity Financial Services, your CPA. And also, if you look up Prosperity Financial Services, you can Google me. You'll notice that I'm in Rivers Bend. You have the right company. And you can always look me up on Facebook or LinkedIn, and I'm there. And I do give free 15-minute consultations. So to determine, if I'm the best match for you, based on what your needs are. My website is the pfsurcpa.com. Okay. And my email is the info@pfsurcpa.com. If you have questions about how to set up your Google business, if that's not helpful for you, there is a tutorial in LinkedIn that's free, where they will go in and show you how to set up your Google business. So there are some free tools that you can use to further along take your business even further, and to make sure that your name is getting out there, your business name, as you start to brand yourself.
So I appreciate you coming on tonight. I know your time is limited. I'll reach out to you for all your expert help. You are a wealth of knowledge, and we thank God for you and sharing your gift with the world, because we need you. You're offering solutions that businesses need. And that is just such a benefit to many. And so I thank you for coming on, taking the time out your busy schedule, because we are down to the wire with tax season here. So I know you're extending late hours and working beyond your normal time frame. So thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. I have so many more questions, but we'll do this another time after tax season is over. So I'll bring you back to just talk about finances and just, ongoing regulations that people need. So thank you for coming, Sadia. You are such a beautiful person inside and out. And I thank you for sharing your information with us.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Have a wonderful night. And thank you all for joining. We will see you on next time. And this is Kizzy Staten Gray with Miss Sadia Douglas, our expert interviewer tonight. So thank you all. You have a wonderful evening. Blessings to you all.